I want to say something to you right at the start that I mean with everything in me. Getting older is not the problem. Getting older without paying attention, that is the problem. And there is a difference between the two that most people don't figure out until it's later than they'd like. My name is Francis. I live alone. I manage my own home, my own money, my own health, and my own days. And if this is the kind of conversation that matters to you, if you're the kind of person who wants the truth about aging instead of the soft version, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to this channel. I say things here that I think need to be said, and I'd rather say them to people who actually want to hear them. That's all I'll say about that. Now let me tell you something honest. About 6 years ago, I had a moment in my own kitchen that changed the direction of everything. I had dropped a spoon. Just a spoon. It slid off the counter and landed near my feet, and I stood there looking at it and I realized I was calculating. I was calculating whether it was worth bending down to pick it up, or whether I should just leave it there and get another one from the drawer. And it wasn't the spoon that frightened me. It was the calculation. It was the fact that somewhere in my body a decision had already been made that going down and coming back up was a cost too high for a spoon. That was the moment I knew something had shifted. Not dramatically. Not in a way anyone else would notice. But I noticed. And noticing is where everything starts. I was sliding, quietly and without realizing it, toward a version of old age that scared me. The kind where other people start making your decisions because you've stopped making them yourself. And what pulled me back wasn't a medication, or a program, or a doctor with a plan. It was paying attention to 6 specific things that told me, honestly, where I actually stood. 6 things that don't lie. 6 things that don't care about your pride, or your optimism, or what you tell your children on the phone. They just tell you the truth. So today, I want to talk about those 6 things. Not as a celebration, though if you're still doing them, you absolutely should celebrate. But as a real, honest assessment. Because I think you deserve that more than you deserve comfort. I think you've lived long enough to want the truth. The first thing is whether you can still get up from the floor. Not elegantly. Not quickly. Just, can you do it? Can you get yourself from the floor to standing without grabbing something fixed to the wall, without calling for help, without it becoming an emergency? I'm asking because this is the thing nobody tests until they have to. And the day you have to is not the day you want to find out the answer is no. I test this deliberately. Once a week, I sit down on my kitchen floor, carefully, with intention, and I get back up. The first time I did this, about 6 years ago, I will be honest with you. It was not good. I got down fine. Getting back up took me almost 2 minutes, and I used the cabinet handle, and my arm was shaking, and when I finally stood up my heart was pounding like I had run somewhere. I stood there holding the counter and I thought, Francis, if you had fallen right now and there was no cabinet, what would have happened? And I didn't like the answer. So I kept doing it. Every week. And it got better. Not because I'm extraordinary, but because bodies respond to what you ask of them, even after 8 decades. They do. They might respond slowly and they might complain about it, but they respond. The ability to get up from the floor is one of the most honest measures of functional strength there is at our age. It tells you about your legs, your core, your balance, your problem-solving when your body is in an unexpected position. My neighbor Barbara stopped being able to do this and didn't know it until she slipped in the garden and spent 40 minutes on the ground before her son happened to call. 40 minutes on the cold ground. That's not a fall story. That's a strength story. A story about something that could have been caught and addressed months earlier if she had been paying attention. Barbara is fine now, but she'll tell you herself, She wishes someone had told her to test it before the ground tested it for her. If you can still get up from the floor, even slowly, even imperfectly, that is a real and significant thing. It means your body is still working for you. Don't take it for granted. Keep it. The second thing is whether you're still cooking real food for yourself. Not every meal. Not anything complicated. But real food, something that required you to think about what your body needed, to stand at a counter and prepare it, to sit down and eat it properly. I know what happens when this stops. I watched it happen to a woman I've known for 30 years. Her name is Dottie, and she is one of the sharpest people I've ever known. First, she stopped cooking dinner because it felt like too much effort for one person. Then she stopped cooking lunch. Then breakfast was crackers and whatever was easy. Within a year, she was 20 pounds lighter, and her doctor was using the word malnourished, and her children were using the word facility. Cooking for yourself is not just about nutrition. It is an act of agency. It requires planning. What do I have? What do I need? What will I make? It requires physical engagement, standing, reaching, handling things. It requires that you believe your body is worth the effort of feeding well. The day you stop believing that, something important has already shifted. I cook for myself almost every day. Nothing fancy. On Tuesday, I made a piece of fish with lemon and some rice and green beans. It took me 20 minutes. I stood at my counter and I seasoned that fish and I watched it cook and I sat at my table with a real plate and a real fork and I ate it while looking out my window. And that meal was not just food. It was me telling myself that I am still someone worth cooking for. That might sound dramatic for a piece of fish, but after all these years I've learned that the things that keep you alive are almost never dramatic. They are ordinary. They are Tuesday night and a piece of fish. If you still cook for yourself, even simply, even just a few times a week, that matters more than you know. It means you're still in charge of what goes into your body. You're still making decisions for yourself. You're still showing up for yourself in one of the most basic ways a person can. The third thing is whether your mind is still handling real information. Not puzzles. Not games on your phone. I mean real information, your bills, your medications, your appointments, your finances. Do you know what you have in your account right now, roughly? Do you know what medications you take and why? Do you know when your next doctor's appointment is and what you need to discuss there? I'm not asking if you remember every detail perfectly. Nobody does, at any age. I'm asking if you're still engaged with the actual business of your life. Because this is the thing that slips so quietly. First you let someone else handle the finances because it's easier. Then someone else is making the calls to the insurance company. Then someone else is coming with you to the doctor because it's just simpler. And one day you realize you don't actually know what's happening in your own life anymore. Other people do. Loving people. Good people. But not you. I keep a 15-minute morning review. Every single day. I sit at my kitchen table with my coffee and I look at something real. My accounts. My medications. My calendar. What's coming, what's due, what I need to handle. I have a notebook, a plain blue one, nothing special, and I write 3 things in it every morning. What I need to do today. What I'm expecting this week. And one thing I noticed yesterday. That last one might sound strange, but it's the one I think matters most. Because noticing is how your brain stays in the game. Yesterday, I wrote that the maple tree on the corner has started turning and it's earlier than last year. That's not important information. But my brain had to observe it, hold it, and put it into words. That is a brain that is still working. That is a mind that is still paying attention. Not because my memory is perfect. Because I refuse to let it go unused. A mind that is regularly asked to handle real things stays sharper than one that's been excused from responsibility. I believe that completely. If you are still managing the actual details of your life, if you know what's in your account and what's in your medicine cabinet and what's on your calendar, that is a sign of something important. It means you are still the one in charge of yourself. And if you've let some of those things go, you can take them back. You can start tomorrow morning with a notebook and a cup of coffee and 15 minutes of paying attention to your own life. The fourth thing is whether you're going outside every single day. Not for exercise. Not for a destination. Just outside. Fresh air, real ground, the actual world. This one I feel strongly about because I have watched what happens when it stops. A woman named Estelle in my building stopped going outside after a small scare on the sidewalk. Someone bumped into her, not hard, but enough to make her grab a railing and feel her heart race. She decided her apartment was safer. And it was safer for about 3 months. Then she had to go to a medical appointment and her legs, which had been living on flat carpet for 3 months, didn't know how to handle the slight slope of the hallway. She grabbed the wall. She made it to the appointment. But the world outside had become something her body no longer knew how to navigate. And that happened in 3 months. Not 3 years. 3 months. The outside world has cracks and curbs and wind and uneven surfaces and people who walk past you quickly. Your body needs to practice all of that. Every day you stay inside, your body forgets a little more about how to move through a world that isn't flat and controlled. And the day you have to go out for something real, you'll face a world your body hasn't seen in weeks. I go outside every day. Some days it's a proper walk, down the street, around the block, maybe to the little store on the corner where the man knows my name and asks me how I'm doing and I tell him the truth, which is usually pretty good. Some days it's standing on my front step for 10 minutes watching the street. I watch the dogs go by. I watch the mail carrier. I feel the air on my face and I let my eyes adjust to distance, to things that are far away, because inside everything is close and your eyes forget how to look far. Some days it's walking to the corner and back, and that's all my body wants to give me and I accept that. What matters is that my body remembers what it's like out there. What matters is that I still belong to the world beyond my 4 walls. Because the world doesn't come to you. By the time you've lived as long as I have, you understand that. You have to go to it. Every day. Even when it's cold. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. If you're still going outside every day, even briefly, even slowly, your body is still practicing being alive in the real world. That is not a small thing. The 5th thing is whether you're still sleeping and waking on your own rhythm. Not perfectly. Not without the occasional bad night. But generally, do you go to sleep and wake up on a schedule that you chose, that works for your body, without needing medication to make it happen? Sleep changes as we get older. I know that. I have nights where I'm awake at 2 in the morning thinking about things I can't solve in the dark. But there is a difference between sleep that varies and sleep that has become dependent, on pills, on alcohol, on the television running all night because the quiet is too much. I stopped taking the over-the-counter sleep aids I had been using for years. And I want to be honest about this, because I think honesty is the only thing I have to offer you that's worth anything. The first night, without them, I lay in my bed and stared at the ceiling and my body felt like it didn't know what to do with itself. Like it had forgotten how to fall asleep on its own. And it had. I had taught it for years that sleep came from a pill, and now I was asking it to remember something it hadn't done in a long time. The first week was hard. The second week was worse. By the third week, something shifted. I started to feel tired at the right time. Real tired. Body tired. Not drugged tired. And on the other side of those 3 weeks, I found sleep that was real. The kind where you dream. The kind where you wake up having actually rested. The kind where your eyes open in the morning and you know where you are and what day it is and your body feels like it actually went somewhere and came back. What I replaced the pills with was a simple evening ritual. Television off at 8. A few minutes with my notebook, just 3 sentences about the day. A glass of water. The window open briefly, even in winter, even for just a minute, because the cold air tells your body something is changing, the day is ending, it's time to rest. Dark room. Quiet room. If your sleep is generally your own, if your body knows how to rest without being sedated into it, that is a sign that your nervous system is still regulating itself. That your body still knows how to take care of you if you give it the conditions to do so. And if you're still relying on something to make sleep happen, I'm not judging you. I was right there. But I'm telling you it might be worth trying to come back from that, even if the first few weeks are hard. Because the sleep on the other side is worth it. The 6th thing is the one that ties all the others together, and it is simply this: whether you still make decisions for yourself every day. Real decisions. Small ones count. What to eat. When to sleep. Whether to go out. What to spend money on. Who to call. What to do with a Tuesday afternoon. These decisions seem trivial, but they are not trivial. They are the daily exercise of being a person who is in charge of their own life. I want to tell you about something that happened to me about 2 years ago. Someone in my life, and I'll keep it vague because they mean well and I love them, suggested that it might be easier if they managed my finances for me. They said it gently. They said it with love. They said I shouldn't have to worry about those things at this point in my life. And I listened and I thanked them, and then I said no. I said, the day I stop managing my own money is the day I stop knowing what my life costs, and the day I stop knowing what my life costs is the day I stop understanding my own life. And they didn't push it. And I still manage my own accounts. And I know exactly what's in them. Not because I don't trust the people who love me. Because I don't trust what happens to a person who stops being in charge of their own life. The loss of independence doesn't usually arrive as a dramatic moment. It arrives as a series of small handovers, each one seeming reasonable. Let me handle that for you. It's easier this way. You don't need to worry about that. And one day you look up and realize that the decisions about your life are being made by people who love you, but who are not you. And getting those decisions back is far harder than keeping them in the first place. I am not against help. I have asked for help. I will need more of it as I get older, and I know that. I'm not foolish about it. There are things I can't do as well as I used to, and I know what they are. When the time comes, I will accept help with grace. But there is a difference between accepting help where you genuinely need it and surrendering authority over your own life because it's easier for everyone. And I hope you feel that difference in your bones the way I feel it in mine. If you are still making the daily decisions of your life, if you are still the one choosing what happens to your body, your time, your money, and your home, you are winning. Not in a competitive way. In the only way that matters, which is that your life is still yours. I want to close by saying something I mean very directly. If you listen to this and you can still do all 6 of these things, get up from the floor, cook real food, handle your own information, go outside daily, sleep without dependency, and make your own decisions, then you are in better shape than most people realize. And I want you to know that. Not to be comfortable with it, but to protect it. Because these things don't stay without tending. They require you to keep showing up for yourself every single day. They are not achievements you earn once. They are practices you maintain. And the moment you stop maintaining them, they begin to leave. And if you listened to this and one or two of these things gave you pause, good. That is exactly the right response. Pause is useful. Pause is the thing that comes right before change. It's not too late to start getting up from the floor again. It's not too late to start cooking one real meal a day. It's not too late to take back the morning review and know what's in your own account. It's not too late to open the front door tomorrow and stand outside for 10 minutes and feel the air. You have not missed your window. At this point in my life, I can tell you that windows don't close as fast as people think they do. You just have to be willing to walk through them. You have been taking care of yourself, in one way or another, for all the decades you've been alive. You know how to do this. You just have to decide that it's still worth doing. That you are still worth doing it for. I believe you are. I hope you do too. My name is Frances. Thank you for listening to an old woman who still thinks the truth is the kindest thing you can give someone. I'll talk to you again soon.